Kiara sat alone in the dark corner of her broken ship. Her 4 eyes blinked one after another as she tried to fix the navigation system. Her scaled hands shook as she worked. The ship used to be the best in the Zarkith fleet. Now it drifted helplessly in human space. Ship status, she said quietly. Life support at 30%. Hull damaged in sections 4 through 7. Communication systems not working, the ship computer replied. 6 cycles had passed since Kiara escaped from the prison colony. 6 cycles of running, hiding, and trying to heal both her body and mind. The consortium had hurt her badly. As the last living commander of the Zarkith forces, they had made an example of her. They tortured her, shamed her, and threw her away when they got all they wanted from her. Kiara's sensitive ears picked up the sound of engines coming closer. A patrol ship, she thought. She closed her eyes, ready for whatever came next. The consortium would catch her again, or maybe the humans would finish what the war started. Either way, her journey was over. The ship shook as something attached to the hull. Not weapons fire, but a docking tool. Kiara reached for the small energy blade hidden in her torn uniform. She had promised herself she would use it rather than be captured again. The airlock opened, and Kiara prepared for the worst. Instead of consortium troops or armed human soldiers, a single human male stepped through the door. He wore a simple work uniform with a patch that said Frontier Salvage Operations and Sam Kelly below it. Hello? He called out, his light moving across the dark bridge. Anyone alive in here? Kiara stayed still, hoping the shadows would hide her, but her ship gave her away. One life form detected. Zarkith female, injured, the ship computer announced. The human named Sam pointed his light toward her corner. Showing her huddled form, his eyes widened when he saw her, but not with hate or disgust as she expected. Instead, she saw something she hadn't seen directed at her kind since before the war. Concern. You're hurt, he said simply, lowering his weapon. I have medical supplies on my ship. Kiara hissed, raising her energy blade. I will not be taken prisoner again. Sam raised his hand slowly. Not here to capture anyone. I'm just a salvage worker. Found your distress signal. I did not send any signal, Kiara said, growing more suspicious. Your ship did. Automatic protocol. When life support falls below 40%. He pointed to the failing systems around them. Look, I don't care about the war. That ended 2 years ago. But you'll die if you stay here. Kiara's blade wavered. Death or trust neither option seemed good, but something in the human's eyes, something real and open, made her pause. Why would you help me? She asked, her voice rough. Sam shrugged. Because you need it. 3 simple words that would change everything. When they reached Sam's salvage ship, Kiara was surprised by how clean and well kept it was compared to her battle-damaged vessel. Sam led her through the airlock, staying far enough away to make her feel safe. Medical bay is this way, he said, pointing down a narrow hall. It's basic, but should handle most injuries. Kiara followed carefully, always keeping her hand near her hidden blade. The inside of Sam's ship was full but organized. Tools and spare parts were sorted in labeled boxes, star maps hung on walls, and personal items showed that this human lived as much as he worked here. You live alone on this ship? She asked, looking for signs of other crew. Sam nodded as he searched through a medical cabinet. Just me and Maggie, Kiara tensed. Another human? The ship's AI, Sam explained with a small smile. Named her after my grandmother. The simple sentiment touched Kiara in an odd way. The Zarkith never named their technology. They thought it was wasteful. Maggie, run a medical scan on our guest, Sam asked. Scanning, a warm, female voice responded. Zarkith. Female, about 32 standard years. Multiple partly healed broken bones, poor nutrition, high-stress hormones. Recommended treatment, protein-rich food, bone healing, and rest. Kiara did not like having her weaknesses listed so plainly, but she could not deny the truth of it. I can help with the first 2, Sam said, taking out a medical device and a container of food. The rest part is up to you. He placed both items on a small table between them, then stepped back, giving her space to decide. The gesture meant a lot to Kiara. Choice had been the first thing taken from her at the prison colony. "Why are you alone out here?" she asked. Instead of reaching for either offering, Sam's face changed, a brief shadow crossing his features. "Prefer it that way, less complicated." There was a story there one Kiara recognized in his eyes. The look of someone who had also lost too much. "I was a commander," she said suddenly, surprising herself by sharing this. "Seventh Fleet." Sam nodded, neither impressed nor judgmental. "I was a medic, Frontier Defense Force, then we were enemies." "Were," he emphasized, pushing the food container closer to her. "Now we're just two people in the middle of nowhere with a shared interest in keeping you alive." Kiara finally reached for the food, her pride giving way to need. As she ate, Sam prepared the bone-healing device, keeping his movements visible and non-threatening. "The consortium will be looking for me," she said between careful bites. "Helping me puts you in danger." "Consortium doesn't patrol this area much," Sam replied. "Too far from their main shipping routes. That's why I work out here. And the humans?" Sam's hands paused briefly. "I avoid them too." Another piece of his puzzle fell into place for Kiara. This human was an outcast, just as she was. Different reasons, perhaps, but the same result alone among the stars. "I should leave once I'm treated," she said, though the thought of returning to her broken vessel didn't appeal to her. Sam shrugged. "Your choice. But Maggie found a hairline crack in your main engine system. Your ship won't make it to the next star system without repairs." "Convenient," Kiara said suspiciously. "Truth," Sam countered, finally looking directly at her. "Look, I need to salvage parts to make a living. Your ship has valuable components. You need repairs and safety. I'm proposing a trade. You help me salvage, I fix your ship and give you shelter while you heal." The offer made sense, even seemed logical. But trust didn't come easily to Kiara anymore, and if I refuse? "Then I'll give you emergency rations, do what I can for your immediate injuries, and let you go," he said simply. "Your life is your own." It was those words, "your life is your own," that finally broke through the armor around Kiara's heart. How long had it been since anyone had acknowledged her right to choose? 3 days, she agreed reluctantly. "Then I decide whether to stay longer." Sam nodded, extending his hand in what she recognized as a human gesture of agreement. After moment's hesitation, Kiara reached out and grasped it with her scaled fingers. Neither could have known that those 3 days would stretch into a journey neither had imagined possible. The next day began with artificial light slowly brightening on Sam's ship. Kiara woke quickly, her military training still part of her after all these years. She found herself in the small medical bay where Sam had set up the bone-healing device. For her, Sam came in with 2 steaming cups. "Morning. Brought you some tea? Thought coffee might be too strong for your system?" Kiara took the cup carefully and sniffed the strange liquid before taking a small sip. The warm, slightly sweet drink was unlike anything in Zarkith food, which was usually bitter and full of protein. "It's good," she admitted, surprising herself. Sam smiled, a real smile that changed his weathered face. "Small wins," he said, lifting his own cup slightly. "What will we do today?" Kiara asked, setting aside the unusual normal moment. "Need to get the navigation computer from your ship," Sam explained. "Then we can start fixing the engines." Kiara nodded but looked hesitant. "There are personal items on my ship? Things I would like to get myself." Sam understood right away. "Of course, your ship, your stuff. I'll work on the outside repairs while you gather whatever you need." His simple respect for her privacy was another unexpected kindness that left Kiara momentarily speechless. Later that day they worked quietly on opposite sides of Kiara's damaged ship. Sam clearly knew what he was doing as he efficiently found and began fixing the engine system problems. Kiara carefully collected her few belongings, a traditional knife passed down through her family, a small data crystal with her personal logs, and a piece of sacred stone from her homeworld. As she reached for a hidden compartment under her command chair, her hand shook. Inside was the one thing she had risked everything to steal during her Escapa Consortium data, drive containing proof of war crimes committed against her people after the official end of hostilities. Find everything? Sam's voice startled her as she quickly hid the drive in a secret pocket of her uniform. Yes, she replied, perhaps too quickly. If Sam noticed her nervousness, he didn't show it. Great, I've mapped the outside damage. It's bad, but fixable. Probably 2 weeks of work, though. 2 weeks? Kiara repeated, the time frame both worrying and somehow comforting. Sam wiped his hands on a cloth, leaving marks of engine fluid on his already stained work suit. Yeah, problem with that? Kiara thought about her options. Her ship was currently not working. The data drive she carried needed to reach friendly hands, but she had no way to know who those might be. And the consortium was everywhere. Eventually, they would find her. No, she decided. 2 weeks is acceptable. They returned to Sam's ship with the salvaged parts and Kiara's personal items. As Sam prepared a simple meal, Kiara noticed a small holographic picture on the galley wall, a photo of Sam in a military uniform standing beside a woman and a young girl, all smiling. Your family? She asked, instantly regretting the personal question when Sam's shoulders stiffened. Yes, he answered after a long pause. Lisa and Emma, my wife and daughter. The way he said it told Kiara everything she needed to know. I'm sorry. Sam continued preparing the meal, his back to her. Frontier colony attack? 6 years ago? I was deployed elsewhere. The timing matched the early border fights that had eventually grown into full-scale war between humans and the Zarkith. Kiara felt a cold weight in her stomach. Was it my people? She asked quietly. Sam turned, his face carefully neutral. No, raiders, human raiders. Taking advantage of the chaos as military forces were moved to the Zarkith borders. Kiara felt relief mixed with shame, relief that she hadn't been directly responsible for this human's loss. Shame that she had participated in a conflict that had created the conditions for such tragedy. That's why you're out here alone, she said, understanding now. Sam nodded once. Couldn't keep serving after that. Too many questions about why we were fighting an alien race when humans were killing each other in the frontier. Got discharged? Attitude not compatible with military. Objectives, they said. They ate the simple meal in silence, both lost in their own thoughts. Later, as they worked together to install the salvaged navigation system into Sam's ship, Kiara made a decision. I have something, she said suddenly. Something important. Sam looked up from the control panel he was calibrating. Okay. Kiara hesitated, then reached into her hidden pocket and took out the data drive. Evidence of what the consortium did after the peace treaty, camps, experiments, executions. Her voice became strained. My people think it was just prisoners of war who suffered, but it was civilians too, children. Sam put down his tools, giving the small device his full attention. And you want to do what with it? I don't know, Kiara admitted. Make it public. Somehow, but I have no contacts, no way to ensure it reaches those who would act on it rather than hide it. Sam was quiet for a long moment, studying her face. This is why they're hunting you specifically, isn't it? Not just because you escaped, Kiara nodded. And you're telling me this now because ... Because I need to trust someone, she said simply. And you have already shown me more mercy than anyone has in years. Sam picked up his tools again, returning to the calibration work. For several minutes, Kiara thought he was ignoring her revelation. Then, without looking up, he spoke. I know someone, journalist, uncovered the truth about the frontier colony attacks. Got blacklisted for it, but still has connections, he glanced at her. No guarantees, but if anyone can handle this right, it's her. Hope, fragile and unexpected, bloomed in Kiara's chest for the first time since her capture. Thank you, she whispered. Sam shrugged, but his eyes showed understanding. Everyone deserves justice, even former enemies. As they worked side by side through the ship's artificial night cycle, something changed between them, a tentative bridge forming across the gap that war and suffering had created. Why did you really help me? Kiara asked as they finished the navigation system installation. That first day on my ship? You could have just taken what you wanted and left me. Sam was quiet for so long that Kiara thought he might not answer. Finally, he closed the panel they had been working on and turned to face her. When I found my family's colony after the attack, there was a Zarkif medical symbol painted on a wall near where they had set up an emergency shelter. Someone from your people had tried to help them. His voice was soft but steady. It didn't save them, but it meant they weren't alone at the end. Kiara's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of deep emotion among her people. A field medic, Sam nodded. I never reported it. By then, the war propaganda was in full swing. No one wanted to hear about enemy compassion. So when you found me, I figured the universe was giving me a chance to return the favor, Sam said simply. One medic to one commander. Kiara reached out slowly and placed her scaled hand on his arm the first time she had initiated contact between them. I am sorry for your loss, Sam Kelly, and I am grateful for your mercy. Sam covered her hand with his own briefly. Get some rest, Commander. Tomorrow we start repairs on your ship's propulsion system. As Kiara returned to the small space Sam had given her for sleeping, she realized something had shifted inside her. The bitter anger that had fueled her since her escape was still there, but alongside it now was something new, a fragile spark of hope that perhaps not all was lost. That perhaps, even after all the horrors of war and captivity, healing might still be possible. The message came 8 days after they started repairs. Sam was outside Kiara's ship, welding a metal plate over a badly damaged section of hull. When Maggie's voice came through on the communication system, Sam, warning alert, consortium vessel detected entering this area. Current path suggests they are searching in a pattern. Sam immediately turned off the welding torch and pushed away from the hull, using his suit's small engines to return to his ship's airlock. Inside, he found Kiara already at the sensor display, her face grim as she studied the approaching vessel's signature. Enforcer class, she confirmed, her throat tight. Specifically designed for pursuit and capture, they've found me? Sam quickly removed his spacesuit. How long until they can detect us? 4 hours at current speed, Maggie answered. However, if they send out scout drones, possibly less. We need to leave, Kiara said, already moving toward the engine room. The repairs to my ship aren't complete, but yours works. If you drop me at the nearest neutral station, they'll have alerted every station within 50 light years, Sam interrupted, pulling up a star map, and they'll have your biological signature flagged in all automated systems. Kiara's shoulders dropped. Then I must take my ship and lead them away from you. They want me, not you. Sam gave her a look of disbelief. In a ship with half-finished repairs? That's not a plan, that's suicide. I will not bring danger to you after all you've done, Kiara insisted. Her 4 eyes blinking rapidly in distress, Sam studied the star map intently, then pointed to an area of space marked with warning symbols. The Harding Nebula, heavy radiation, magnetic interference. Perfect place to hide. Also a perfect place to become permanently lost, Kiara countered. The nebula is known for disabling navigation systems. A hint of a smile crossed Sam's face. Good thing we just installed that heavily shielded navigation computer from your military vessel, isn't it? For the first time, Kiara recognized the strategic advantage of their salvage work. Her ship's navigation system had been designed to function in combat conditions, including areas with high electromagnetic interference. It could work, she admitted. But the nebula is still dangerous. More dangerous than consortium enforcers? Sam asked, already plotting a course. Kiara couldn't argue with that logic. What about my ship? No time to finish repairs, Sam said regretfully. But he hesitated, then continued, we could set it up to look like you tried to escape. Set it on a different course, maybe even program it to send out a false emergency signal once it's far enough away. A decoy, Kiara realized. It might buy us time. They worked frantically, preparing both ships for their separate journeys. Sam transferred essential supplies to his vessel while Kiara programmed a complex automated, flight path into her ship's computer, one that would suggest a panicked escape attempt. As they made final preparations, Sam received another alert from Maggie. Drone signatures detected. Estimated arrival 47 minutes. We need to go now, Sam said, securing the last of the supply boxes. Kiara paused at the airlock connecting the two vessels, looking back at her ship, the last physical connection to her former life. It was already lost, Sam said gently, understanding her reluctance. You're not. With a final nod, Kiara sealed the airlock. Moments later, they launched in opposite directions, her empty vessel accelerating toward a popular smuggler's route. While Sam's ship dove toward the swirling gases of the Harding Nebula, its signature already beginning to fade against the background radiation. Inside the cockpit, Kiara watched the sensor readings anxiously. 2 drones following my ship, she reported. The Enforcer is maintaining position to monitor both paths. They're not sure which is the real one, Sam said, hands steady on the controls as they navigated the nebula's outer boundary. Now we just need to... The ship shook violently as an energy pulse hit their rear shields. 3rd drone, Kiara hissed. It must have been hiding on a different approach vector. Damage report, Sam called out. Rear shields at 60%, Maggie responded. Drone is preparing for second shot. Enforcer vessel has changed course. To intercept, Sam's expression hardened. Maggie, emergency protocol Sigma, full power to engines. The ship surged forward, plunging deeper into the nebula's swirling gases. Behind them, the drone fired again, but the shot went wide as interference began to affect its targeting systems. They're still following, Kiara reported, watching the fading signature of their pursuer. Not for long, Sam promised, steering them toward an especially dense cluster of ionized gas. This is where having a small ship pays off. The next hour was a tense navigation through the nebula's hazardous interior. Twice, they had to power down completely to avoid detection when consortium search patterns came too close. By the 3rd hour, even the advanced navigation system was struggling to maintain orientation. We should be safe for now, Sam finally said, allowing himself to relax slightly. But we're stuck here until they give up the search. Kiara nodded, fatigue evident in her posture. How long can we survive here? With our supplies? 3 weeks, maybe 4. Sam ran a hand through his hair, a habit Kiara had noticed emerged when he was thinking deeply. The radiation shielding will hold, but we'll need to be careful with power use. As if to emphasize his point, the lights dimmed briefly before stabilizing. I've brought this upon you, Kiara said quietly. Your life destroyed because you showed kindness to an enemy. Sam turned to face her fully. First, you're not my enemy. Not anymore. Second, my life was already a mess before you showed up. His expression softened. And third, this isn't over yet. He reached into a storage compartment and withdrew a small communications device Kiara didn't recognize. Emergency quantum entanglement. Communicator, he explained. Military grade. One-time use. Completely untraceable, Kiara stared at the device in shock. Those are restricted technology. How did you... Let's just say I didn't turn in all my equipment when I got discharged, Sam said with a wry smile. And been saving it for a real emergency? And this qualifies? Sam held her gaze steadily. I think evidence of war crimes against an entire species definitely qualifies, yes. He activated the device, which emitted a soft blue glow. This will connect directly to that journalist I mentioned. No interception possible. He handed it to Kiara. It's your evidence, your story. You should be the one to tell it. Kiara's hands trembled as she accepted the communicator. What if it changes nothing? What if they still hunt us? Then at least we tried, Sam said simply. Sometimes that's all we can do. As Kiara began transmitting the data in her testimony, Sam moved to the cockpit window, gazing out at the swirling colors of the nebula that was both their prison and sanctuary. Do you think this will really make a difference? Kiara asked after she had finished sending everything to Sam's journalist contact. Sam turned back from the window. My wife Lisa used to say that change happens one person at a time, one choice at a time. He looked at the now dark communicator. You made a choice to steal that evidence when you could have just saved yourself. I made a choice to help you. When I found your ship? Now this journalist will make a choice about what to do with the truth. And if she chooses to ignore it? Kiara asked. Lisa also used to say that doing the right thing is still right. Even when no one notices, Sam replied, a sad smile crossing his face. But for what it's worth, I think this journalist will do the right thing too. As they settled in to wait, out the consortium search, Kiara found herself studying this human who had risked everything for a former enemy. In the soft glow of the nebula's light filtering through the viewport, she saw not the enemy she had been taught to hate, but simply a person who had chosen mercy when vengeance would have been easier. Thank you, Sam Kelly, she said softly. Sam glanced at her, momentarily surprised by the gratitude. For what? For reminding me that there is more to life than survival. That even in the darkest times, choice remains? Sam nodded, understanding. In his eyes, get some rest, Commander. Something tells me we're going to need our strength for whatever comes next. As Kiara retreated to her small sleeping area, she realized that for the first time since her capture, she was looking forward to tomorrow. Not just enduring it, but actually wanting to see what it might bring. And that, perhaps, was the greatest mercy of all. 3 weeks passed as Sam and Kiara hid in the nebula. They moved carefully through its safer areas, using minimal power and keeping a close watch on the sensors for any sign of consortium ships. The cramped quarters of Sam's small salvage vessel had become home to both of them. Sam had modified parts of the ship for Kiara. He adjusted lighting panels to match the Zarkith visual range, changed seat backs to fit her different spine structure, and added labels in both human and Zarkith. Writing, these small gestures of thoughtfulness meant more to Kiara than she could express. Any news? Sam asked one morning as he entered the small communication center they had set up. Kiara looked up from the display. Nothing new. The consortium search patterns have moved to the next sector. I think they believe we escaped through the other side of the nebula. Good, Sam said, checking their supply inventory. Food for another 10 days, then we'll need to start rationing. Kiara joined him at the inventory screen. We could try moving closer to the edge of the nebula. There might be better signal reception. They're for news broadcasts. Sam nodded. Worth a try. I'd like to know if your data made any impact. They had heard nothing since Kiara sent her evidence to Sam's journalist contact. The nebula's interference made receiving transmissions difficult, and they dared not send any outgoing signals that might reveal their position. As Sam piloted the ship to a new position closer to the nebula's edge, Kiara prepared their morning meal. She had learned to cook simple human foods, just as Sam had learned which nutrients were essential for Zarkith physiology. This daily routine had become a comfort to both of them. Tell me about your homeworld, Sam said as they ate. I've only seen military briefings about Zarkith Prime. What's it really like? Kiara's 4 eyes grew distant with memory. It's mostly ocean, islands and archipelagos instead of continents. The largest landmass is smaller than your Australia. The water is why we evolved with scales. Do you miss it? Sam asked quietly. Every day, Kiara admitted. There's a special light at sunset when our 3 moons are visible even before the stars. The oceans turn gold and purple, nothing like it anywhere else, Sam smiled. Sounds beautiful. What about your Earth? Kiara asked. What do you miss most? Sam thought for a moment. Rainforest. The sound of rain on leaves while you're under the canopy, and thunderstorms over the ocean. They sat in comfortable silence, each lost in memories of homes that now seemed impossibly distant. Suddenly, Maggie's voice broke through their thoughts. Incoming transmission detected. Weak signal, but it appears to be a general broadcast. Sam and Kiara rushed to the communication center. Can you clean it up, Maggie? Sam asked. Working on it, the AI responded. Signal strength improving as we approach nebula boundary. The screen flickered with static, then resolved into the image of a human news broadcaster. The sound was broken, but enough words came through to understand the main points. ... Shocking. Evidence of consortium atrocities. Camps discovered on 3 moons. Zarkith survivors coming forward. Military tribunal being formed. Calls for immediate sanctions. Kiara's hands gripped the edge of the console. It worked, she whispered. They're actually doing something. Sam squeezed her shoulder gently. Your courage made this happen. They listened as more fragments came through. The journalist Sam had contacted, named Olivia Grant, had published Kiara's evidence across multiple news networks. The result had been immediate public outrage. 3 high-ranking consortium officials had already resigned. There were calls for a joint human-Zarkith investigation team. Maybe we can leave the nebula soon, Sam suggested cautiously. Find a neutral station where you'd be safe. Before Kiara could respond, Maggie's voice cut in with sudden urgency. Alert, vessel detected approaching at high speed. Not consortium signature, Sam quickly checked the sensor readings. Too small for a military vessel. Could be a scout ship or... It's broadcasting a message, Maggie reported. Audio only. Sam hesitated, then nodded. Let's hear it. A woman's voice filled the small bridge. To the vessel hiding in the Harding Nebula. This is Olivia Grant. I tracked the quantum signal. I'm alone and I'm here to help. The evidence you provided has changed. Everything. There's an amnesty program being formed for camp survivors. Please respond if you can hear this. Sam and Kiara exchanged looks of surprise and cautious hope. It could be a trap, Sam said, voicing the concern they both felt. Yes, Kiara agreed. Or it could be our way out. Sam studied the sensor readings. Carefully. Single occupant, minimal weapons. Definitely not a consortium design, he looked at Kiara. Your call? Do we respond? Kiara closed her eyes briefly, weighing the risks against the chance of freedom. When she opened them again, determination showed on her face. Yes, but cautiously. Sam nodded and opened a channel. This is Sam Kelly. We received your message. How do we know we can trust you? There was a moment of silence before Olivia's voice returned. Sam Kelly, ex-Frontier Defense Force medic. Discharged 4 years ago after questioning military priorities following the loss of your family in a Frontier colony raid. I did a story on you back then. You refused to be interviewed but sent me your wife's journal instead. Her name was Lisa. Sam's face showed shock at the personal details only someone who had actually known about his past would have. And to the Zarkith commander with you, Olivia continued. I have a message from General Vexorn of the 7th Fleet Remnant. He says, the Dawn Sea remembers its children. Kiara gasped. The phrase was a sacred Zarkith greeting, known only to those of her home island chain. It's really her, Kiara said, voice trembling, and she's contacted my people. Sam took a deep breath and made a decision. Olivia, sending coordinates for rendezvous. We'll meet you at the edge of the nebula. He looked at Kiara, ready to rejoin the world. Kiara nodded, emotions too complex for words filling her chest. Yes, but ... Emotions too complex? She hesitated, then continued, Whatever happens next, I wish to face it with you beside me. Sam smiled, reaching out. To take her scaled hand in his. Wouldn't have it any other way. As Sam plotted a course to meet Olivia's ship, Kiara looked out at the swirling gases of the nebula that had been their refuge. She had entered it as a fugitive, broken by her past. She would leave it still carrying those scars, but no longer defined by them. Maggie, Sam called out, set course for the rendezvous point. Time to see what the universe has in store for us next. The ship turned gracefully, engines humming as they headed toward an uncertain but hopeful future. Whatever challenges awaited them, they would face them together, the human who had offered mercy and the alien who had learned to accept it. Olivia Grant's ship was small but sleek, clearly designed for speed and stealth rather than cargo. As Sam guided their vessel toward the rendezvous point at the nebula's edge, both he and Kiara watched the approaching ship with a mixture of hope and caution. Ready? Sam asked, his hand hovering over the communication controls. Kiara straightened her posture, reclaiming some of the military bearing she had once possessed. Ready, the docking procedure was smooth and efficient. When the airlock indicators turned green, Sam and Kiara stood side by side, waiting for their visitor. Kiara's hand rested near her hidden blade, while Sam kept a small stunner within easy reach. Trust was still a fragile thing. The inner door slid open to reveal a human woman with sharp eyes and short gray hair. Olivia Grant looked exactly like her news broadcasts, direct, no nonsense, and intensely focused. "Commander Kiara," Olivia said, touching her forehead in what was clearly a practiced Zarkith greeting. "And Sam Kelly, thank you for trusting me enough to meet." "Your message was unexpected," Kiara replied carefully. Olivia nodded. "I imagine so. May I come in fully? I have much to tell you, and we shouldn't linger at the nebula's edge for long." Sam gestured her inside, and they moved to the small galley area where they could sit. Olivia placed a secure data tablet on the table between them. "First, you should know that your evidence has created a firestorm across both human and Zarkith space," Olivia began. "The camps have been exposed. 3 have been liberated already. Survivors are telling their stories." Kiara's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in emotion. "And the consortium?" "In chaos," Olivia replied with satisfaction. "Half the leadership has resigned. The other half is busy blaming each other. The military arm has officially distanced itself from the rogue elements responsible for the camps." "Convenient," Sam muttered. "Politics always is," Olivia agreed. "But the important thing is that it's working. A joint human Zarkith commission has been formed to investigate war crimes on both sides." "Both sides?" Kiara asked sharply. Olivia met her gaze steadily. "Yes, including bombing of civilian targets by Zarkith forces in the final days of the war." "I believe in complete truth, Commander. Justice must be for everyone, or it's just another form of power." After a tense moment, Kiara nodded. "You are right. My people have blood on their hands as well. I ordered strikes myself that I later learned hit civilian areas." Sam placed a gentle hand on her arm. "War makes monsters of us all. What matters is what we choose after." Olivia watched this interaction with keen interest. "You two have come a long way from enemies, it seems." Neither Sam nor Kiara responded directly to this observation, but their closeness spoke volumes. "What happens now?" Sam asked, returning to the practical. Olivia activated her tablet, displaying a star map with a highlighted route. "I have a ship waiting 3 systems away. Larger, faster, with proper medical facilities. It can take us to New Geneva, where the Commission headquarters are located." "They want your testimony, Commander Kiara." "And me?" Sam asked. "They're interested in hearing from you as well," Olivia said. "A human who helped a Zarkith officer escape and hide. Your story supports the narrative of reconciliation they're trying to build." Sam frowned slightly. "Not interested in being anyone's poster boy for peace." Olivia smiled, a sharp expression that showed why she was such a successful journalist. "Too bad. Sometimes our stories become bigger than ourselves. But if it helps, I'll keep your name out of the public reports as much as possible." Kiara had been studying the map carefully. "This route takes us near Consortium space. Safest path, ironically," Olivia explained. "They've pulled back most patrols to deal with their internal chaos. And my ship has state-of-the-art cloaking technology." Sam and Kiara exchanged looks, having a silent conversation after weeks of learning each other's expressions. "We need supplies," Sam finally said. "And I'd like to transfer some personal items." "From this ship?" "Of course," Olivia agreed. "I'll help. My ship is docked and ready whenever you are." As they prepared to leave the salvage vessel that had been their home and sanctuary, Sam found Kiara in the small space that had become her quarters, carefully packing the few possessions she had. "Having second thoughts?" he asked quietly. Kiara turned to face him. "No, but I'm thinking about what comes next. After the testimony, after the commission completes its work, you'll be free to go home," Sam said, a complicated emotion crossing his face. "Back to Zarkith Prime, to that sunset with 3 moons. And you?" Kiara asked. "Will you return to your salvage roots?" Sam leaned against the doorframe. "Haven't thought that far ahead." A moment of silence stretched between them, filled with unspoken possibilities. "I could show you those sunsets," Kiara finally said. If you wanted to see them, the offer hung in the air, not just to visit her world, but to remain in each other's lives after this chapter closed. Sam smiled slowly. I'd like that. 3 hours later, they boarded Olivia's ship. It was indeed larger and more advanced than Sam's salvage vessel. As they prepared for departure, Olivia showed them to private quarters and the ship's small medical bay where a Zarkith medical device had been installed. For your ongoing recovery, Olivia explained to Kiara. The Commission has doctors from both species waiting at New Geneva. As the ship broke orbit and set course for the jump point, Sam and Kiara stood at the viewport watching the nebula that had sheltered them grow smaller behind them. Scared? Sam asked softly. Yes, Kiara admitted, but not like before. This is ... a different kind of fear? The fear of hope? Sam suggested. It's always scarier than despair. Kiara's scaled hand found his human one, fingers intertwining despite their different shapes. When I was in the camps, I thought my life was over. That all that remained was survival or death. I never imagined ... this. What? Becoming a key witness in an interstellar war crimes tribunal? Sam asked with a gentle tease in his voice. Kiara made the clicking sound that Sam now recognized as laughter. That too. But I meant finding connection again, purpose, maybe even redemption. The stars streaked past as the ship accelerated. Ahead lay uncertainty, the complicated process of justice, and the even more complicated process of healing between their peoples. But in this moment on this ship, a former Zarkith commander and a human ex-medic stood together, united by choices that had defied the hatred of war. Whatever happens at New Geneva, Kiara said quietly, I am grateful our paths crossed, Sam. Kelly, Sam squeezed her hand gently. Me too, Commander. As Olivia's ship jumped to faster-than-light travel, carrying them toward a future neither could have imagined weeks ago, both felt the weight of their past lighten just a little. Kiara's past had indeed left her broken, but a human's unexpected mercy had shown her that broken things could be rebuilt, sometimes into something stronger and more beautiful than before. The war had taught them to be enemies. Fate had made them survivors. But it was choice, the simple, powerful choice of mercy, that had made them friends. And perhaps, in time, something more.